The United state of play, he made quite a few changes, didn't he, Amorim? He left out his goal scorers from the weekend. He left out Amad Diallo. I get that he's trying to have a look at players, but if he had his time again, do you think he might have changed that decision?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he's working. I don't know if he's coming this season. He's going, you know what, I need to see people. I look at their character. You know what players are going to roll their sleeves up away from home. And that might be what he's doing at the moment, because he'll need to do that. He'll need to come in, he'll have to make his mind up for next season, because if it keeps on going on the same way it has been going on, they're not going to get anywhere. So he has to make them big decisions. You know, as I said, I thought first half they were very, very comfortable. Arsenal never really looked like scoring, but they just turned it up in the second half. You know, if they'd have played and they'd have got beat 2-0, we'd be sitting here going, why didn't he make changes? So, you know, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He knows what he's doing. And I think, you know, he's got to have a look this season and then go from there. And I think this is one of them seasons where hopefully he might get into Europe, get in the top 6. But at the same time, he needs to make decisions, because come the start of next season, he needs to hit the ground running and to make sure they're a team that are fighting for top 4. And that's the most important thing for Man United.
How long do you think it will take him to work out his best 11?
Wow. That's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, especially the way they play, and they want to play free at the back, and wing-backs is a difficult position. You know, they haven't got natural wing-backs at Man United. Some other clubs have. They haven't got that. So then it doesn't work straight away anyway. So for me, it's going to take time. It's going to be a lot of tweaking here and there, but it will take his time. But I'm sure he'll get it right. I mean, what this man done over in Sporting was phenomenal, and I think we've got to give him time, because this is a big job, Man United. We're talking, you know, I still say they're one of the biggest clubs in the world. At the moment, they're not one of the biggest teams in the world, and that's the problem that he has.
It's Ruben Amorim's first defeat in a league game since the 9th of December last year for Sporting, nearly a year without a defeat in the league. But
earlier at the Emirates against Manchester United, they really turned things around in the second half. How impressed were you with what they were able to pull off in the end?
I was really impressed with Nicolas Jove, their set-piece coach. He's incredible. And I think one of the things is that you will say, I think, set pieces is seen probably now sort of as a second-rate thing. You don't work on them that much. Therefore, if you don't work on them that much, defensively or attacking-wise, if a team does work hard on them, they're going to get there. And what I thought we saw from Arsenal, and you mentioned it as well, Robbie, is that there was a different intensity in the second half for Arsenal. But I think part of that was a United team that were tiring, that are trying to get used to a new system that's involving a lot more energy than what they've been used to before as well.
Yeah, night and day. The difference at half-time. And well done, Mikel Arteta. We're talking about it in the game. Like, the flow of football fascinates me. And the flow in the first half was with United possessing. Arsenal couldn't quite get there. The pressing was really, really poor. Half-time, sit down. The manager, I don't know, gives them a rocket or whatever. They come out, they're pressing, they're winning the ball back. The intensity is ramped up like 2 or 3 gears, and Man United just struggled to play through that. You marry that with the set-piece dominance, which, you know, I was thinking, you know, have we ever seen, Danny, a team so dominant from corner kicks, from scoring from corner? I can't remember a team so good at it.
I think you'd have to go back a long way, because it's considered a lot of the time old school, isn't it? You know, I think... But what I would say about Arteta as well, he's on a journey at this football club. Made big decisions throughout the years, getting rid of the likes of Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil. Big decision today. Subs Zinchenko on, takes Zinchenko off. You know what that feels... Well, I don't know if you do know what it feels like as a player, but it's one of the worst things. But he's a manager that's not afraid to make these huge decisions. So, you know, they're in a really good place as well. But, you know, it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. It really is.
Yeah, it really will.
Just one more point on the set pieces. Like, we were talking about it, like, they have a knack of surrounding the area that the ball ends up in. Now, sometimes those corners come into the near post, sometimes the back post, sometimes right around the goalkeeper. It seems that wherever it is, they've got 4 or 5 Arsenal, sometimes around the goalie, sometimes a near post for the first one, and the second one, the guys around Mazraoui at the back post, we're going to show that in the highlight, just swamp around him and force a ball in there. It's spectacular work.
Yeah, it's clever. It's smart football, and it was really fun to watch in the second half today.
Almost like when corner or set piece is coming in the fence, feeling it, you know, like, let's go, we're going to score this. And Arteta, being a student of Guardiola, we can say that, right? He always, in my mind, watching him, like to improvise, finding new aspects of the game, innovation, stuff like this. So I'm not going to be surprised if now we have the coach of set pieces, maybe we have a coach of attacking options as well. You know, pretty much than NFL. You know, NFL have coaches in the defense, coaches in the attack. This is how football probably is growing up and changing in a way. And we can see the results when we have a coach in the set pieces.
OK, so we're just going to get the thoughts of Alan Shearer, our co-commentator tonight, who is with Kiana Freeman.
Alan, we've talked a lot about the set pieces, and Arteta's just been at the table with the rest of the team. What do you make of him so far this season? Are you impressed with him and his team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they started really well. They had a bit of a sticky spell when Odegaard was injured, but their form in recent weeks, coincidentally, when he's come back, he's a huge part of the team, has been really good. Even when they don't play well, we know. I mean, tonight is a great example of that, how incredible they are at set pieces. I mean, there are so many things that have to go right for a set piece. First of all, the ball in there, then the movement, and the hunger and the desire to get on the end of it, then the contact with it. All right, they got a little bit of luck with when it comes off Saliba's backside, but they get the header at the far post from Partey. So when ultimately you don't play that well he didn't in the first half, they're improved in the second half. It's the little percentages of the set pieces, which is why you work so hard in training. And when they work tonight, it must give all the staff great satisfaction.
An essential player in the set pieces, Declan Raya, also player of the match. How do you judge his performance today? Great performance.
I think he held everything together. When they didn't have the ball, he had to do his bit. He made some really, really important tackles. Particularly second half, he was driving his team forward. I mean, there was once in the second half where he carried the ball at least 50 or 60 yards, and then they got the corner, and then his deliveries were just incredible. I think every single one of them was actually on the money and so dangerous and so tough to defend.
Newcastle, your team, helped out Arsenal a little bit tonight. That looked like a great match with a lot of goals. How do you see this title race shaping up?
Well, obviously Liverpool are favourites, and rightly so, because of the start that they've had to the season. But it's not all going to be perfection for them. They're going to have to answer some questions. I mean, they did tonight at Newcastle, but I think Arsenal are the closest to them. They're the ones that are going to challenge them. And if I don't see City coming back from where they are at this moment in time, I know they've got a decent result and they're back to winning, but I think they've given themselves too much to do. So I do see that Arsenal can challenge Liverpool, but it's going to be tough. They're going to have to be near on perfect, Arsenal.
Will Arsenal catch them up on their set pieces? Will that be the key to success?
Well, they're dangerous. That's without doubt, they're the best in the country at doing that. I remember years and years ago that we had the old Wimbledon team and we had the old Stoke team who were absolute giants and difficult to defend. Arsenal are huge. They've got the delivery. They've got the hunger to get on the end of it. So it's a great weapon for them to have.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Around them are going to drop points. You said pre-match, didn't you, that the team that finishes above City will win the league, and I said, well, even Liverpool, and you stood by that. They've made their comeback tonight. We'll see that in a moment there. But one of the most interesting things that came through there was him saying he trusts the process.
I mean, I was one of those that didn't write them off, that's for sure, Declan. No, trust the process, trust, he's talking about his set pieces there. You know, I think we spoke off air about Declan would probably want to be scoring a lot more goals. He'd probably want to be on the end of a lot of those, but because he's his quality, he's one of the best gifted midfield players that Arsenal have, technically. It's like he says, it's like every time you go up, it's a goal and an opportunity to score. But yeah, trust the process, trust the development of where they're going to be at right now. Like he says there, February is when we can think about it. He wasn't really sure about the result tonight. You know, when we were saying before at the start of the programme, our players aware, he really wasn't aware of that at all. That just shows how focused this team is right now.
And Ruben Amorim and Manchester United will have learned a lot about each other tonight. That was a good defensive first half display, but when Arsenal stepped it up in the second half, they were found wanting.
It was, and I admit that in the second half, the storm was here. Like the coach said before, he know that the storm is going to come. Today, the storm was here, especially in the second half. Set pieces, big problem. They scored 2 from those, and now it's back to the training ground to fix the mistakes from the second half especially.
Let's talk about those set pieces, shall we? In fact, why don't we have a little look at the first goal, Roberto, and then we can talk a little bit more about what Arsenal are doing so well. No surprise, because actually in the first half, it was only through set pieces that they had any attacking threat.
Well, I think we were talking about the
how tight the game was, but that delivery makes every strategy that you work in the set play work. It's 6 players, and we're going to analyze it a little bit later, but it's that togetherness that they go 5 players. Some players, they know exactly who to block, they open the space, and with good delivery, it's very, very difficult for any goalkeeper that stays on the line. And this is a routine that they practice, and today it was fascinating to see the best attacker in the corners has been Gabriel, and today was missing, but they found a little bit of an extra number, and they adjusted their strategy. So I think today full credit for Mikel Arteta and obviously Nicolas Jover, that he works in those details. And I think that shows something that it doesn't happen in any other league in the world. In other leagues, normally the team that he plays well normally wins. Here, let me show you about the set play. Something that is very, very unique. They got 6 players and they got 3 areas. Look at the first zone, the second zone in front of the keeper, and then the back post. The moment that the synchronization happens, good delivery is always in swing. Here's Declan Rice. You can have 5 players, 1 stays in the back, and then 5 players, 3 blocking. And if the delivery is right, that's impossible to defend. The first man of United had some zonal players, some man-marking players. As coaches, when we prepare this sort of strategy work, you know what the opposition are going to do. The uniqueness of this work of Arsenal is that they always find a little trick that makes things impossible to defend. If the delivery is right, and I think Declan Rice said something that is, we believe on it, when you are disciplined and you do the perfect block and your perfect intensity, is an incredible goal-scoring threat that Arsenal have.
It is, but it is not a secret. And is there more that oppositions can be doing to disrupt this, whether it's positioning of their own defenders or keepers?
Yeah, this is something, obviously I don't want to take away what Arsenal do in their attacking structure, but I just want to see other teams try something completely different. Arsenal have now, Nicolas Jover's come in and he's done something completely different out of the ordinary because Arsenal are now scoring at will. But I want to see maybe a goalkeeper change their position. Just actually put the question to whoever's taken the corner, Saka if it's Declan Rice, they look up, suddenly the goalkeeper's stood on the, I'm not saying on the penalty spot, but is in a different position, which then the players need to adapt.
But Theo, you remember, you suffered, we all suffered Stoke. And I think it's a great credit to remember Tony Pulis and the work that he did with the throw-ins. And it's exactly what you said. All the teams were trying to defend it in a certain way. You know what they do. Exceptional teams, when they do something exceptionally well, you need to find a different way to defend it. Here, this is the essence of the British game. This is the essence of the Premier League. It doesn't happen in other league. Here you got set plays and transition, because the physicality is more allowed, the referees allow the contact, are the 2 aspects that they don't happen in other leagues around the world. And the Premier League is almost the keeps this that we all suffered, and set plays and the transition is the 2 aspects that you need to really adapt to it if you want to win games, even when you don't play well.
Well, we were...
Manchester United 0 then is how it finishes. The Gunners pick up 3 points. 13 corners Arsenal had in that game. Manchester United didn't get 1, and in the end, of course, 2 goals coming from the hosts. Let's welcome in, shall we? Stuart Robson joins us as well as Frank Leboeuf. Robbo, it's all about the corners for Arsenal.
It was, because the first half, as Craig said, Manchester United had quite a decent shape. They had easy possession and both sides didn't really play with any intensity. I was surprised the way Arsenal didn't really press the ball. They allowed Manchester United to keep switching it to their wing-backs, play through midfield. But again, there was no real penetration. Garnacho didn't look as though he was going to go past anybody. Mason Mount, you know, he just can't find his form at the moment. And Højlund, apart from a couple of runs, didn't pose too many threats. But in the second half, when Arsenal increased the intensity and started closing the ball down, getting the ball forward quicker, and they started winning more corners, you know, it was always going to be their game. But you have to give credit to Arsenal. The set plays are very good. Of course they are. They've got determination. As Craig said, the deliveries have to be good. But I'm looking at the defenders. You know, you want to have defenders that are going to say, throw the ball in the box, I'm going to go and win it, I'm going to go and attack it. The Manchester United defenders were standing, well, hoping it didn't come near them. It was really poor defending, a lack of determination, a lack of responsibility, and that's why they conceded, or looked like they could concede every time a ball was played in their box.
Frank, you're a defender. How would you deal with this?
As a defender, I know how to do it. My problem is these forwards coming back to defend and not doing well. Last week was Antonio I think it was on Gabriel, and today was Højlund. just pushed a little bit by Timber and not trying to fight. And that's the problem. If forwards, they come back and they're not ready to fight, it doesn't work. You have to be strong. You have to make sure nobody's going to move you. You have a choice by coaches from a zone positioning or a marking positioning. I rather give responsibility to every player, to mark every player, to know exactly what's going on and what you have to do. Today, Manchester United decided to go for a zone system. West Ham last weekend was on the marking system. Both don't work if you are not completely committed. And that's the problem. If you don't want your guy to score, your guy won't score. You don't need to look at the ball. Just look at your guy. Just block him. That's what Arsenal does offensively. It's what Timber does offensively. He made a foul last weekend. Today, again, when he touches before, he pushed Højlund. They always make blocks or make foul. That's a part of the system. Nicolas Jobert, the corner coach, knows exactly what he does. He blocks others and makes sure that somebody's going to be free. And we could see every corner. Well, we have to say that Saka and Rice are giving masterpieces in that matter. But they always have somebody free because they block. They make foul that the ref won't give because it's not really a foul.
I think from the game perspective, what Ruben Amorim found out that he can have a very defensively good shape in the side, but that depends on the personnel that he picked, and he picked a more defensive unit. And in terms of the shape, in the first 45, they were excellent, and Rob was right, they frustrated Arsenal. But what happened was he opened it up a little bit at half-time because Ahmad didn't start and Rashford didn't start, and when he made those changes and the game opened up, then they got picked off. Now, I know the 2 goals were from set pieces, but there was other instances of Trossard and particularly Odegaard getting on the ball and linking up with Saka. It didn't really happen in the first half. And so I think from Amorim's perspective, it's kind of where they are. Right. That he didn't want to open up too early. And I thought they looked good defensively, not much going forward in the first half. But when he did throw in those more attacking players, then there's a lot of work to do. And particularly against the better sides. And I think from Arsenal's perspective, they knew Liverpool had a tough game at Newcastle, away from home. The last thing they could have done tonight was slip up. Yep. Now, it wasn't vintage from Arsenal, I'll give you that. Not as strong as it's been in the last 2 or 3 games. But it was very professional. They got the job done. There was no Gabriel. There was no Calafiori. So that left side was a little weaker. But it worked for them. And they've closed the gap. And before the game started, that's what they were trying to do.
Go on, Frank.
Yeah, Craig and Robert, I agree with you that this first half, Manchester United, they were kind of, there. But it's more due to Arsenal not pressurizing high enough on the field, like they normally do. So it's for me more due to Arsenal tactic, or maybe Arteta tactic was maybe a little bit too cautious in the first half than Manchester skills and tactically were all aware. As soon as Arsenal put the second gear on, the second half, Manchester United didn't exist. That was more Arsenal cautiousness than anything else in the first half for me.
Maybe it was, I don't know, I might be wrong, but maybe it was a slightly different approach from Arsenal to protect that back 4, which has been excellent, but not this personnel.
Right, because Gabriel's out, was he?
Because Kivior and Zinchenko, let's be honest, they're okay, but you can get at them. Right. That's a weak side of that. Yeah, and maybe the tactic from Arsenal was, listen, don't press too much early on and leave ourselves open at the back because this left side is weak, and let's give them a little bit of protection. Let's bed ourselves into the game and grind Man United down, and that's kind of how it worked. I agree. Normally, when you see Arsenal play, particularly at home, they throttle the life out of teams. You can barely get out their own half, but they didn't do that today, and I wonder whether it was because that back line had changed, and there's no doubt Kivior, but particularly Zinchenko defensively, is a weak point and a worry. That's why he doesn't start week in, week out. So maybe, just maybe, that's why Arsenal were a little bit more cautious in the first 45 minutes.
Robert, if we're seeing so much success from Arsenal at these corners, why don't more teams do it?
Well, I think there's nothing actually particularly clever about it. It's just great deliveries into the box. Arsenal's players start at the back post and they make runs to the near post. lots of teams do that. You know, many years ago, every ball was played into the near post and you try to flick it on. It's the opposition at the moment that don't know how to cope with it, and the opposition aren't determined enough. And Frank said it, whether it's forwards. But if I'm looking at Manchester United's 3 centre-halves, I'm saying Maguire, who should be good in the air, should be dominant. Doesn't matter where the ball's going, I'm going to go and head it. De Ligt should be rolling his sleeves up. Come on, throw the ball in the box, I'm going to head it. Mazraoui, likewise. Højlund, likewise. But they were actually thinking, oh, I hope it doesn't come on my head. Hope somebody else has to defend it further back or in the near post zone. There's not enough determination, and other teams have shown frailties as well. So you've got to have defenders that want to go and head the ball, and if Frank wants forwards to come back, they've got to go and head the ball as well. Absolutely they have.
Everton have got 6.
Yeah.
I bet they've not got a set-piece coach. Sean Dyche should be going, oh, let's talk about set-piece coaches. We're doing it all ourselves, and we've got 6.
Everton won 4-0 today against Wolves.
It really is, but this is where you get a feel for where you're going to end up in the season. This part is you can pick up loads of points because teams change all over the place. We saw a lot of changes with United tonight, which started off really well. They really did. They asked a different question of Arsenal, but it's a period where you can make up a lot of points, and this is where people can.
Not only that, but I remember when you used to play, Sir Alex Ferguson was like, if we stay first in the table after Christmas period, we win the league. So it was always like very strict around this time of year. Don't go out, stay, train, concentrate. This is the moment
How did he stop you?
The only thing he could say, stay home, train.
And you did.
It worked.
We did. It worked.
Yeah, you knew at the end of it there was going to be rich rewards.
It was
winning
worth it,
titles.
right? It was worth it. It's about winning the title in the end of the day, right? So you need to do what you need to do, and that's why it's so important. So many games, stay fresh, of course, get the points, and I agree with you. If you are leading the table this time of the year, then you have even more chance to win in the league.
You have a chance, but as we know, teams have squandered it, haven't they? Those kinds of leads. Let's have a little look then, shall we, at a save which could have put Manchester United back in the game. David Raya had to be at his very best, didn't he, to stop Manchester United getting back into the game.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, go on.
I was going to highlight that it's so important to have a goalkeeper that has got the #1 shirt and he's got that belief. We saw Arsenal when he had a little bit of doubt. Now David Raya, and this is a fantastic stretch. It's technically, you see young legs of a goalkeeper that he covers the angle, but then he's a keeper that is fantastic with his feet as well. So when you got a fantastic keeper that he can start the play and then he can have moments like that, is a keeper that's going to give you a lot of points in the season.
And hard for a keeper, I imagine, to have to make his first save, deep into the second half.
Genetics, because they need to be ready for that moment that the ball is going to happen. Today was fascinating to see Onana. I think Onana had the biggest amount of touches as a goalkeeper had in 45 minutes in Premier League year, without a doubt. And the role of the goalkeeper has changed. The concentration of a goalkeeper playing in a team like Arsenal, Manchester United, they need to be ready for one moment, one key moment, and that makes a difference. And the position of the goalkeeper, I would say, is the second most demanding that there is now in the starting 11.
It's been 361 days since Ruben Amorim lost a game as a manager in the league, obviously, with Sporting. So, he's obviously come here with a fresh record in the Premier League, but he's found a lot out tonight about his players. He's found out a lot about the Premier League, I imagine, tonight.
For
Very
sure.
different opposition.
For sure, we're talking about watching the game, that probably the Premier League is the only league in the world where you have so many players around the goalkeeper pushing, shoving, making chaos. Normally it's going to be a foul, but not here. You need to be strong. And that's why probably he was watching from the side and he was like, what is going on with my keeper? So you need to work on that, because obviously, as we joked, Arsenal is the new Stoke City, right? Depending on set pieces, which can give you the win, like it was today. A bit disappointed I am, though, that sometimes we are seeing more goals for set pieces, although goal is still a goal. But I want to see goal from open play, combination, attacking, flair, so something, the players that can figure something out, split the defense with a good pass. This is what I want to see. Sometimes it's not working like this, and I'm pretty sure Arsenal is very happy with the 3 points, which they deserved.
Do you think he would have been disappointed as well with the second half performance? Because obviously the first half they're frustrated. What was the change? The players coming on, they couldn't
to Arsenal in the second half in the way they did in the
catch
first.
up to speed. Yes, with how it was. It was a big change, I felt.
In a way.
And just the fact that the players that came on, there wasn't the hunger, the fight and the energy.
Should we hear
Manchester United were twice undone by set pieces as Arsenal condemned Ruben Amorim to his first Premier League loss. Second-half goals by defenders Jurrien Timber and William Saliba wrapped up a 2-0 victory for Mikel Arteta's side, who closed the gap on leaders Liverpool to 7 points. While the Gunners remain third with a fourth straight win, United are 11th in the table. Arsenal rallied with a ruthless second-half performance to end Ruben Amorim's honeymoon in charge of Manchester United in brutal fashion with a 2-0 win. Thomas Partey had missed from a corner at point-blank range to warn the Red Devils that Arsenal remained a danger from the set-piece despite missing Gabriel through injury, and the visitors had no answers in the second period. Arsenal hit their stride after half-time and Jurrien Timber's glancing header set them on course for victory before Partey made amends by heading into William Saliba's back to double a lead that Manchester United never looked likely to overcome. Arsenal are a long way ahead of United, Ruben Amorim admitted, and Sunday's match at the Emirates Stadium confirmed it. While Arsenal celebrated their 500th game at the Emirates, the gulf between the two sides was glaring. Let's dive into how Arsenal's dominance and set-piece mastery exposed United's struggles under their new boss. A historic milestone for Arsenal, this game marked Arsenal's 500th at the Emirates, a stadium that has seen 336 wins since its opening in 2006. Despite this success, the Gunners have lifted only 4 trophies since leaving Highbury FA Cups, including one in Mikel Arteta's debut season. However, this season, Arteta's side looks more than capable of adding major silverware to their collection. Sunday's performance was another reminder of how far Arsenal have come. Amorim's admission, Ruben Amorim, taking charge of Manchester United after Erik ten Hag's dismissal in October, has been upfront about the challenge. Comparing his inherited squad to Arsenal's, Amorim acknowledged the disparity in quality. United's last visit to the Emirates in the league ended in defeat, and their record against the Gunners has remained bleak. The match showcased precisely why Amorim needs time to rebuild a side capable of competing with the league's elite. Set-piece supremacy. Arsenal's evolution under Arteta has seen them become the Premier League set-piece specialists, and this game was no exception. The Gunners' well-drilled routines twice caught United off guard. Jurrien Timber capitalised on a cleverly worked Declan Rice corner to open the scoring in the 54th minute. Minutes later, a Bukayo Saka delivery found Thomas Partey, whose header ricocheted off William Saliba and into the net for Arsenal's second. These moments highlighted Arsenal's creativity and precision, leaving Amorim with much to ponder as United struggled to defend. United's struggles in attack. Amorim made 6 changes to his side, including starting Mason Mount, who failed to make an impact. Marcus Rashford, despite his recent form, started on the bench alongside Joshua Zirkzee, who had shone in the previous match. Rasmus Højlund led the line but received little support as United lacked cohesion and creativity in the final third. Even late substitutions, including Rashford and Amad Diallo, failed to shift the momentum. Arsenal's depth shines despite injuries to key players like Gabriel and Ricardo Calafiori. Arsenal's replacements Alexander Zinchenko and Jakub Kiwior held firm to secure a clean sheet. Arteta's squad depth and tactical nous have been critical to their resurgence this season. The bigger picture. Amorim's task at United is monumental. While his focus is on rebuilding and instilling discipline, time is not a luxury often afforded to managers at big clubs. Winning trophies isn't enough. Fans demand tangible progress toward the Premier League or Champions League titles. Arteta has shown how to create the illusion of progress before delivering substance. Amorim, however, faces a steeper climb, starting with tightening United's leaky defence and finding a spark in attack. Arsenal's dominance in this match reflects their trajectory under Arteta, well-organised, dangerous from set pieces, and brimming with belief. For Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, the gap to bridge is as wide as ever. The Portuguese manager has been candid about the challenges ahead, but the question remains, how long will he have to make United competitive again? Arsenal fans will relish this win, but the race for silverware is far from over. Meanwhile, United's rebuilding phase continues, with much work to be done.